Hello, this is Sophie Tan. This is the water vocabulary words. So first, fresh water. Fresh water contains less than 1,000 milligrams per liter of dissolved solid, most often salt. So fresh water includes streams, lakes, from large like rivers to smaller like ponds, and some canals, and also wetland. They are also part of the fresh water. So surface water actually is very easy to understand. This is just water on the surface. So water is continually moving around through and above the surface, and this is the surface area. The main uses of surface area is for drinking and other public uses. So human needs a lot of water. Also, the surface area is used for electricity to generate equipment. Water can be in different form like solid, liquid, and water vapor. It can change the form constantly. So groundwater is like surface area. It's just easy to understand. That's the water on the ground. Groundwater is in the soil, sand, and rock, and that's easy to find. It is stored in and moved slowly through geological formation of soil, sand, and rocks, called aquifer. So groundwater is in the aquifer. And also, many drinkable water is stored in groundwater, in the aquifer. About 51% of the total U.S. population and 99% of the rural population use groundwater. Since rural area, they use wells to dig water. So aquifer is the place to store the underground water. Aquifer has many layers, and aquifers, they have both permeable and porous, and include such rock types like sand rocks, and other type of stones, rocks, and sands to make water move fast, or the pores can store water. So confined aquifer is one layer of the aquifer. Confined aquifers are those impermeable dirt, rock layer exists that prevent water from seeping into the aquifer from the ground surface locally directly above. So this one is the confined aquifer. And unconfined aquifer. Those are the water seeps from the ground surface directly above the aquifer. So the pollutants sink into the water easily for this, and also this layer has no well. And water table. Water table is also called the groundwater table, the upper layer of an underground surface in which the soil or rocks are permanently saturated with water. Above the water table is the unsaturated zone, and below it is the saturated zone. So watershed. And watershed is a basin-like landform defined by high points and ridgelines that descend into lower elevation and stream valley. So Why is this important? Because the water quality, the land, the base-like landform, it affects water quality for all communities living downstream. And floodplain. Floodplain is a flat or nearly flat land adjacent to a river or stream that experiments occasional flooding. So this area is a floodplain, and we can see there are streams and rivers around it. Floodplains are formed in two ways. It can form by erosion and by aggregation. And next one, wetlands. Wetlands, this is one type of wetlands. This is the swamp. The wetlands are the link between land and water, and some of the most productive ecosystems in the world. So the wetlands provide habitat for a wide variety and number of wildlife and lives. So the wetland, it can filter, clean, and store water. So it acts like the kidneys for our ecosystem, and also it can collect and hold flood waters. It can absorb wind and tidal forces, and it provides places for many animals, for biodiversity, and also for human entertainment. Consumptive use. So consumptive use is for the quality of water used by the vegetation growth in a given area. So it varies with temperature, humidity, wind speed, and other factors. On the contrary, non-consumptive use, this is also for water, and this is including water withdrawn for use that is not consumed. But those two ideas are not that strict, because actually no typical consumptive use is 100% efficient. There is always some return flow associated with such use, either in the form of a return to surface flows or as a groundwater recharge. Nor are typically non-consumptive use of water entirely unconsumptive. Sinkholes, we can see there's a huge holes there. So sinkholes are pits in the ground that forms in areas where water gathers without external drainage, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. So this is caused most of time generally formed, but sometimes it just formed suddenly, and so the sudden sinkholes are often the ones that open up and swallow cars, homes, and streets. So it's pretty dangerous sometimes. Dams. Dams is a barrier constructed to hold back water and raise its level, the resulting reservoir being used in the generation of electricity or as water supply. So generally, dams are for human use, of course, and that's for electricity, or the water in there can be the reservoir for drinking. Dams have many advantages and also many disadvantages. So that's very controversial topic. Desalination. Desalination is a process that removes minerals from saline water. So we can see the ocean water goes through this process and then it becomes fresh water. But this process, due to the energy consumption, so this process is very expensive. So seldom people and government use this method. Reservoir. So this is we just mentioned that this is artificial lake where water is stored. So it's related to the dams. So most reservoirs are formed by constructing dams across rivers. Also, it can be formed from natural lakes, whose outlet has been dammed to control the water level. So that's it. That's all the vocabulary words.